This picture is brought to you from the Carling Library of Films. Herb, it's been my delightful assignment this past few days to try and assemble a history of the BC Lions on film. And you know, despite all the controversy, I've somewhat mellowed over the years. I've been enjoying looking back and seeing how many people participated in the early history of our fine football team.
This is, of course, Bob, is one of the things that is most interesting, is being able to look back over 10 years, and particularly at the stage we are now, and see how important the decisions that were made in the past have been to the overall operation of the football team. And to be able to watch and see what these gentlemen that put together 10 years ago and how it has weathered the period of time, turned into a fine organization, into a strong organization as a result of the very sound decisions which were reached at an early stage.
And you know what else I found, Herb? And this to me probably was the keynote of me feeling proud to be part of the Lions organization years ago. The fact that a lot of the decisions these men made have now become the cornerstone of a more solid WIFU and in turn a more solid CRU.
No doubt about this at all, because over a period of 10 years, they have provided a great deal of the leadership within the Western Conference. And I honestly feel that perhaps some of the decisions were made, that hadn't been made, could have made maybe for our team to be stronger, but wouldn't have made for such a strong conference. And having made the decisions they did, you can look now at the tremendous period of prosperity that the league is entering into and realize that they were the right decisions made by people who were very much ahead of their time.
Well, Herb, you'll notice as we watch this film that there's an improvement in not only the filming techniques, there's an improvement in the state of our stadium at Empire Stadium, there's an improvement in league play, in team play, and just about everything. Let's watch the film. The Lions fans cheer. They are loyal, demonstrative, and sometimes just plain confused. But how did all this start? One of the turning points, certainly, in the early frustrating days was this public meeting in November 1951, attended by more than 400 vociferous football fans. Let's flash back now and meet the 28 men who voluntarily spearheaded this sports struggle in Vancouver. These directors estimated public reaction, formed committees, organized friendship trains to Alberta, sold memberships, and most important, elected a president. And there are many, many more who helped. President Arthur Mercer, slender UBC rugger star of the 30s, who successfully led Vancouver into Western professional football. He also selected as coach Anastukas, who sold football to British Columbia. But if there was apparent orderliness in the committee rooms of the BC Lions, there was sometimes confusion in the field as Anastukas, with the help of a few stars, put a makeshift team together. Remember that rain-soaked win over Calgary in 1954? Even the stadium turf was an enemy, as proper drains had yet to be installed. But no matter, the Lions won their first ever professional game, 9-4. Watch the bottom corner of the screen for a sight you'll never see again. Bob Levenhagen helps Laurie Nemi out of the field to block for the upcoming field goal attempt. And who can forget the Lions' first touchdown in league play? By Bailey, like Norm Fieldgate, an original Lion, scoring against Winnipeg in August 1954, a moment frozen in Vancouver sports history. Here now is the famous fog and run play on October of 1954. Regina Zagiri attempts a field goal which is short. Halfback Lions Jimbo Chambers draws the Saskatchewan tacklers, then laterals to Len Meltzer, who earns a spot in Canadian football's annals by running 115 yards for the major score. A few minutes later, the harassed officials meet on the sidelines and, with Commissioner Sidney Halter's blessing, stop the game. But while they huddle, let's watch Meltzer again and feel sorry for that alert cameraman who ran out of film. The Lions' record in their first year of league competition, 1 win, 15 losses. All seemed sweetness and light in the early part of 1955. For the first time ever, the Grey Cup would be played west of Toronto. It's to the credit of the Lions directorate of that year, particularly President Don McKenzie, John Davidson, and manager Phil Webb, who prepared the package that sold the CRU and Vancouver's case. On the field, Coach Anastukas had made some good moves too. He picked up Arnold Galiffa, a fine drop-back passer, and 2 Texans, Ron Klinkscale and Gil Bartosh. It's late August as the Lions defeat the new-look Toronto Argos 30-24 on plays like these. Klinkscale to Bartosh. Another newcomer, number 80, Primo Villanueva from UCLA in California, rambles for the touchdown against Calgary in the dark hole that was Mawada Stadium. But in late October came the biggest change yet in BC's football fortunes. Anastukas was asked to step aside as head coach and assume promotional duties. Stukas declined, and amidst the biggest public outcry in sports history in Vancouver, relinquished his post to assistant Clem Crow. And the city continued to buzz as Grey Cup time approached. That's WIFU President Ken Montgomery introducing Grey Cup dinner speaker Frank Leahy, former Notre Dame coach. In another part of the city, the Miss Grey Cup contest. The next morning, cold, cloudy, but rainless, a great parade marches by with the Miss BC Lions leading the way. The largest Grey Cup crowd ever. 39,319 watched Edmonton's second half strength overcome Montreal 34-19. But here's an Alouette bright spot. Echeverry hands off to number 83, Pat Abruzzi, for the first period touchdown. The Lions improved again in 1956. They won 6 and lost 10, but there was grumbling from many Vancouver football fans. This was the Lions' brightest hour that season as they beat Edmonton decisively, 11-1. Some say one of the all-time best BC team efforts. Here's Jackie Parker, number 91, cornered, lateraling to Bright, who's literally snowed under by the determined Leos. Now Jackie tries to throw, incomplete, thanks to alert pass defense. Now it's the Lions' turn. Number 87, quarterback Primo Villanueva, and what many call his best football performance, completes a pass to number 91, Paul Cameron, who reverses his field and fights his way all the way to the Edmonton 15. This time it's Cameron, the option passer, who takes a flip from Primo, rolls left, and wobbles one to Ed Vereb, who stretches over for the touchdown. 1957 started off optimistically under President Bill McMahon, who made an early move in hiring Kelowna-born ex-Alouette lineman Herb Capozzi as manager. Here are the Lions showing early foot against Calgary at Empire Stadium as left end Dan Edwards leaves a string of Stampeders behind as he scores. A year later, this same Edwards was to become head coach. But in dark Mawada Stadium came the saddest blow of that young season. Some say the blackest night in BC's short football history, as it cost the Lions a place in the finals that year. After an incomplete pass, number 97, Maury Duncan, attempts a field goal in the low-scoring contest. Large Calgary linebacker Chuck Zickafoos breaks through to block the kick, pick up the loose ball, and literally lumber 70 yards to score unmolested. The storm clouds continued to gather on the Lions' football fortunes, and particularly head coach Clem Crow, as the Lions slipped 2 notches in the won-loss column with 4 wins, 11 losses, and 1 tie. The year 1958 finds us with a blank spot in our filmed history. This was a season of 3 wins and 13 losses, and more important, of wide-angle pictures not adaptable for our purpose. Harry Spring continued as president in 1959, and along with his directorate, selected former Blue Bomber assistant Wayne Robinson as head coach, and together they combined to give the fans a bumper season. Remember, September 19 at Empire Stadium, we beat Winnipeg 17-6, and here's how. Number 10, Blue Bombers Van Pelt, rolls out, passes accurately, but BC's Bill Jessup makes the perfect defensive move. Again, Lions rock-ribbed defense. Van Pelt is forced to throw the safety valve pass to number 20, fullback Charlie Shepard, who's promptly swarmed under. This was a bright evening for number 98, quarterback Randy Duncan. Here's a 75-yard pass and run play scored by number 77, Jerry James. That's number 70 of Winnipeg, Norm Rahaus, in futile pursuit. Vancouver's first look at Willie Fleming. Number 98, Duncan complete to number 91, Wonderful Willie, who freewheels his way to the Winnipeg 15. Number 76, Bruce Claridge, makes a difficult catch look easy as he takes a deep end zone grab from quarterback Randy Duncan. 1960 was the first of a 2-season decline in Coast football fortunes, but you'd never know it by these offensive plays. Number 30, Laverne Lofstrom, a local fullback, takes 2 smashes at that same Alouette line and finally floats in for 6 points. Later that year, another bright spot, By Bailey night. Watch By grab this short pass from number 25, Randy Duncan. Touchdown. Never was an athlete more honestly deserving. After brief stays with the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions, Bailey arrived here with pro football in 1954 and has more than earned his place as a citizen and football player. Remember that first score in August 1954? The second year of Ralph Henderson's term as president saw much change. But Fleming was his old self, against Ottawa, nearly 50 yards in 5 seconds for a touchdown. In September, the Lions acquired the quarterback they had been looking for all these years, number 22, Joe Kapp. Here he throws complete to number 35, Beamer, who fights his way to the 10-yard line. Now Kapp passes to number 36, Don Visick, complete, a major score. But it had been another gloomy season. The scoreboard, 1 win, 13 losses, and 2 ties. Dave Scrine replaced Wayne Robinson as head coach, and Regina football executive Don McPherson chaired a football commission on what's wrong with the Lions. In 1962, his first year, President Clayton Slim Delbridge, former newspaper executive, built upon the strengths of what he'd inherited and learned from all that had gone before. Like this play, Fleming's uncanny catch and run, 55 yards and 6 points. But let's watch the way the staff and team cooperate in this positive manner. Head coach Dave Scrine and assistant Jim Champion spot a weakness in their opponent's defense. It's confirmed by spotter Frank Johnson on the east roof. Quarterback Joe Kapp receives instructions from Scrine and waits his chance. First and goal, number 22, Kapp, rolls to his right, jumps, passes, complete to number 78, Pat Claridge, for the touchdown. And after 10 seasons, the Lions have fight as well as finesse. Watch number 24, Tommy Larscheid, as he bursts past would-be tacklers for a 25-yard gain that should have been stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Herb? Bob, it's an amazing experience. It's like watching a youngster grow up. To see the change in the football over that period of time and to see what's happening out there, it's an opportunity to see the improvement visually in a short period of time, and I really enjoyed it. The couple things that aren't there, of course, you don't really see the contribution that the fans have made over a period of time, nor the enthusiasm that we have in this tremendous city of ours.
Well, Herb, there's one thing I'd like to ask you point blank. And I'd like to thank you on behalf of the fans because they have made this contribution so solidly over 10 years that I don't think anybody can measure it. Herb, you mentioned a new era of prosperity for football in Canada.
Bob, I looked at this film and I thought, well, that's 10 years gone by. It still doesn't show any Grey Cup. It still doesn't show any playoffs. It doesn't show the things that are going to happen. I think some way you have to visualize what's going to happen over the next few years and not just over the next 10 years.
Herb, you've given me a great idea. Let's call this film First and 10.
Bob, I like it.